Good morning, class. This is Miss Gerke, and I will be teaching you how to annotate a play. As you know, we're reading Shakespeare's King Lear this week or month, and plays were originally meant to be read like this. Not like this. So that's important to keep in mind when reading these plays. And though that is the case, it doesn't mean that we still can't read these and annotate these plays to get something out of them. So when you read, you want to annotate something. That's how you keep your mind engaged. Annotations are notes added to a text, book, etc. that are used as a way of commenting on or explaining the section of text. So there are three ways that I know of that you can annotate a text. Some people find it useful to use symbols to annotate their texts. So some symbols may be something like this: an exclamation point, a question mark, an asterisk, or a star, a happy face, frowny face, anything that you make a key for, basically. But each symbol has a meaning that you prescribe to them. So an exclamation point might mean something that's surprising, important, or interesting that's in the text. Or something that's important to the plot, or something that's important to the characterization of a character, or just something that's really interesting to you. A frowny face might mean that the reader is confused, that you don't quite understand something, that you want to ask a question about it later when you get to class, or you need to look up a definition or something like that. So those are just some examples of symbols. Now I'm going to show you what annotating the first page of the play would look like with that. So you notice how there's the King Lear part. So I'm going to use this guide, this key, for when I annotate. So I thought that the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall. So the Duke of Albany than Cornwall, that must be important. So I'm going to write an exclamation point and say introducing character. It did always seem so to us, but now in the division of the kingdom it appears not which of the dukes he values most, for qualities are so weighted that curiosity in neither can make choice of either's moiety. I don't know what moiety is, so I'm going to write a question mark and a frowny face. Is this not your son, my lord? His breeding, sir, hath been at my charge. I have so often blushed to acknowledge him that now I am brazed to it. I don't understand what brazed means, so I'm also going to write a question mark and a frowny face. His breeding hath been at my charge, so that means that he's raised him. So I'm going to put an exclamation point because that's obviously important. Stuff like that is how you can annotate the text. So the second way that I'm going to talk about, or second annotation method that I'm going to talk about, is highlighting, underlining words, phrases, or sentences. The thought behind this method is that if something is underlined or highlighted, your eye is immediately drawn to it. Some people use this annotating method for important information contained within the text, or important happenings, or definitions of words. However, if you think a lot of things are important, like I do, your page will often be so colored or underlined that your annotations are kind of useless. So you end up with a page that looks like this. So if you do choose to use this method, use it sparingly. So for instance, let's go back to the text again, okay? So using the same page that I started with, so let's go. I thought the king had more affected the Duke of Albany than Cornwall. So more affected seems pretty important to me, so I'm going to underline that. And it did always seem to us, but now in the division of the kingdom, well, that seems pretty important, so I'm going to underline that. It appears not which of the dukes he values most, for your qualities are so weighted that curiosity in neither can make choice of either's moiety. Okay, so that's just a quick example. The third and final method of annotation that I'm going to show you today is more of a note-taking method. So when using this method, you can write in the margins, the blank sides of the page, of the text. So you can use this to write down notes about symbolism, a character, questions you have, connections you've made, pretty much anything. It's the most adaptable one. You can also use this method to summarize information you've gathered from a text. This is, again, probably the most flexible method, but be careful if your handwriting is large. If that's the case, you can always use sticky notes. So eventually, this method would look something like this. So you see here that they've underlined the text and said, this is relevant to Edward's development as a character. He shows that he's a meanie. And you might find a double entendre, yay. Or you're not sure what that means. You can also, if you do find a word that you don't know, you can also write the definition right next to the word. That's why this is so helpful. So let's show an example again. So in this text, we've already started to use some of the other methods, but this time I'm going to say, so more affected. So he must have more affection for this, whoever this guy is, Duke of Albany. It did always seem so to us, but now with the division of the kingdom appears not. So kingdom is being divided. And so they don't know who's going to get the kingdom, basically. No one knows who is going to be king. Okay? So, another method that you can use is you can use a bunch of combinations of all of the methods so that you can sort of customize it to work out best for you. Alrighty. Please fill out the Google form with the questions that I've listed for you. That's at the bottom of this video, and I will see you in class.